Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Gabby Giffords' Don't Back Down. And this is a new documentary film from CNN Films, and this tells the story of Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, who was a rising star of Arizona politics when she was shot in the head at a campaigning event, and for the past 11 years has been really working to try to get her life as back to normal as possible. And this is from directors Julie Cohen and Betsy West. And I feel like this documentary really is at its best when it's focusing on the journey that Giffords goes on. It's very emotional. It's very impactful. Outside of the context of the actual film, when I went to go see this at AMC, they showed a video of her wife, Mark Kelly, talking about the film and doing one of those thank you for coming to the theaters. And I thought that was really special, especially for this film. It felt like it didn't make me feel like, oh my god, another thing before the movie, like Nicole Kidman. But this felt very earnest. And the moments in this film when you're seeing, especially like the first third of this film really does focuses on the aftermath after setting the stage of like who Gabby was and like up to this point the impact that she made. When they show her that first shot of her sitting in her bed days after the shooting, it just takes the air out of the room. It's so impactful because you see her going from this light that just brought joy to people, got people's attention, and all of a sudden, there it is. And she's there, she can't talk, and all these things. And it's so inspiring seeing her go through the process of learning how to talk again, and walk again, and use her body, which she hadn't been able to use after this horrible incident. And it's so inspiring, and the love story that they share between her and her husband, Mark Kelly, who winds up becoming a politician, former astronaut winds up becoming a politician, kind of filling the void that she left in Arizona. And this film, like I said, really soars in those moments when you're seeing her strive to get closer back to a normal life, and the moments where she is spending with her husband and seeing their relationship. A lot of the film in the second half does really shift into focusing on gun control, legislation, and pushing for that. And here's the thing. If it didn't focus on that at all, I don't think this would be a really faithful film to who Gabby Giffords is, because so much of what she's done since then is have a foundation that fights for this. And however you lean on the aisle, this is a really inspiring story, and it's hard not to get behind this, watching her, having seen what happened to her. And I do think that the film does get a little too far into just pushing for these specific political ideations. It feels less of a documentary about Gabby Giffords at times and more about a push and trying to convince people to support gun control. And she's coming from a very specific place too, as she's a gun owner, and just thinking about the potential ways to make gun ownership safer. And that's really the perspective she's coming from. I think the biggest fault of this film is it feels very just dishonest and not genuine every time they keep pumping in CNN footage and coverage and stuff like that into the film, because it's like CNN Films made this, and then it just kind of feels like they're trying to promote their own network, and that just feels wrong in this story. And I feel like there's other ways to tell those elements of the story without having to use all this CNN footage, because it just feels disingenuous, and I don't like that. And it just feels weird, especially when this story really should be focusing on this woman who's been through so much. And this film really does get the most impact when it does focus on her journey, her struggle, her love for her husband, and those elements. Overall, I think this is a film that I think everybody should see, because it gives a lot of context to things that are still affecting our society, still causing so many issues, and, a lot of people suffering for it. And this is a case of a woman who almost suffered the most you could possibly suffer from becoming a victim of one of these mass shootings. But her story to get her life back on track is one of the most inspiring things I've seen in a movie. And there's definitely moments where I got really emotional, and I definitely think this is something worth checking out. But those are my thoughts on Gabby Giffords' Won't Back Down. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.